What would you do if your best friend confessed to a crime, and you were the only one who knew? Marcus looked me straight in the eyes, and whispered 5 words that still haunt me. I did it for her. This was the man who stood beside me on my wedding day, and now he was confessing to stealing $50,000. No police, no witnesses, just me holding the truth. Before you decide what I should have done, you need to see how love and desperation brought us here.
Let me tell you about Marcus. We've been best friends since we were 7 years old. We grew up in the same neighborhood, went to the same schools, even got our first jobs at the same company, Davidson & Associates, a mid-sized accounting firm in Seattle. Marcus wasn't just my friend. He was like a brother. The kind of guy who'd drop everything at 2 a.m. if you needed him. Remember that time I told you about my wedding? Marcus wasn't just my best man, he organized the entire bachelor party, helped me write my vows when I had writer's block, and even loaned me $3,000 when I was short on the venue deposit. No questions asked. Just. That's what brothers do. With 6 months ago, Marcus got the promotion we'd both been working toward. Senior financial analyst. $65,000 salary bump. He was over the moon. We celebrated at our usual spot. This dive bar called Mickey's that we'd been going to since we were old enough to drink. Finally, he said, raising his beer. I can take care of Mom the way she took care of me. See, Marcus's mom, Elena, was the most incredible woman. After Marcus's dad walked out when he was 8, she worked 3 jobs to keep them afloat. She was a janitor in the morning, a cashier in the afternoon, and drove for a rideshare service at night. I remember one Christmas when I was 12, Elena still bought me a present, just a small thing, a graphic novel I'd mentioned wanting, but it meant the world because I knew they had nothing. Marcus's promotion meant he could finally give back. He was planning to move her out of that cramped apartment into a nicer place. He'd already started looking at houses, everything was perfect. Or so we thought. 2 weeks later, I got a text from Marcus at 11 p.m. Just 3 words, need to talk. I had no idea that my entire world was about to shatter. I met Marcus at Mickey's the next day. He looked broken. His eyes were red. He'd clearly been crying. In 15 years of friendship, I'd only seen Marcus cry twice. Once at his grandmother's funeral. And once when Elena got rushed to the hospital with what they thought was appendicitis when we were in college. It's Mom, he said, his voice barely a whisper. My heart dropped. What happened? Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. The words came out flat. Emotionless. Like he was reading a weather report. They found it during a routine checkup. Said she's been having symptoms for months but ignored them because she couldn't afford to miss work. I didn't know what to say. Pancreatic cancer. Even I knew those odds weren't good. How bad? I finally asked. 6 months. Maybe less without treatment. Marcus stared at his beer. There's this experimental treatment. Clinical trial at Stanford Medical. Immunotherapy combined with targeted radiation. It's showing incredible results. People with her diagnosis are going into remission. For the first time, I saw a glimmer of hope in his eyes. That's amazing. I said. So she's getting in? The hope died. Insurance won't cover it. Says it's experimental and not medically necessary. They'll cover hospice care. They'll cover making her comfortable while she dies. But they won't cover the one thing that could actually save her. How much? I asked, already reaching for my wallet. $280,000. He laughed. Actually laughed. A hollow, bitter sound. I've got about $15,000 in savings. Mom has nothing. I've already applied for medical loans. Denied. Started a crowdfunding page. Raised $4,000 in 2 weeks. I did the math in my head. It was impossible. Even if I emptied my entire savings, maxed out my credit cards, it wouldn't be enough. There has to be something. I started. There's nothing. Marcus cut me off. I've looked into everything. Medical tourism in Mexico, still too expensive, and they do. I watched my best friend fall apart. And I had no idea that in 3 months, he'd find a way to get that money. A way that would destroy everything. Over the next few weeks, I watched Marcus transform. The vibrant, optimistic guy I knew became a ghost. He was at the office before everyone else, left after everyone else. Threw himself into work with an intensity that scared me. Elena started her standard treatment, chemotherapy that insurance did cover. But we all knew it was just buying time. Marcus would visit her every evening after work. I went with him a few times. Watching Elena, this strong, incredible woman, slowly wither away. It was unbearable. One night, about 2 months after the diagnosis, Marcus and I were working late. The office was empty except for us. We were in the break room, and Marcus was staring at his phone, looking at his mom's latest medical bills. You know what's funny? He said suddenly. I work for an accounting firm. I'm literally surrounded by money all day. Client accounts with millions of dollars just sitting there. And I can't touch a single penny of it. The way he said it made my skin crawl. It wasn't a joke. It was something else. Marcus, I said carefully. You're not thinking. Of course not, he said quickly. Too quickly. I'm just saying it's ironic. That's all. But I saw something in his eyes. A calculation. And it terrified me. I should have said something. Should have. I don't know. Reported it to HR? Demanded he take time off? Something. But what was I supposed to say? Hey, my friend made a weird comment about money, better file a report? He hadn't actually done anything. 3 weeks passed. Marcus seemed better. More focused. He even smiled a few times. I thought maybe he was finally accepting the situation, making peace with it. I was so wrong. Then came the day that changed everything. It was a Friday. March 15th. I remember because it was the day before Elena's birthday. Marcus had taken a half day to spend time with her. At around 2 p.m., I got a text. Mickey's. Tonight. 8 p.m. Important. I had no idea that this meeting would force me to make an impossible choice. One that would haunt me for the rest of my life. Marcus was already at Mickey's when I arrived. He'd ordered my usual, a beer and buffalo wings, but his own drink sat untouched. His hands were shaking, Thanks for coming, he said. Always, I replied. What's going on? He took a deep breath. Then another. His eyes were darting around the bar, checking if anyone could hear us. We were in our usual corner booth, far from the bar, away from the other patrons. I need to tell you something, he said. And I need you to just listen. All the way through. Can you do that? I nodded, even though warning bells were screaming in my head. I found a way to save Mom, he began. The clinical trial. I have the money. All of it. She starts treatment on Monday. My heart leaped. Marcus. That's incredible. How did you let me finish, he said, his voice cracking. Please, I closed my mouth. Do you remember the Westfield Corp account? He asked. Westfield Corporation? One of our biggest clients. A manufacturing company with over 50 million in assets that we managed. Yeah, I said slowly. 3 weeks ago, I created a series of small transfers. 500 here. 1,000 there. Spread out over different accounts, different departments. Small enough that they'd look like accounting errors. Reconciliation issues. The kind of thing that happens all the time in a company that size. My blood ran cold. Marcus. No. Tell me you didn't. $50,000, he said, looking me straight in the eye. That's what I took. The crowdfunding got me to 4,000. I liquidated my savings, got 15. Sold my car, got another 6. I even sold my grandmother's ring that was supposed to go to my future wife someday. Got 8,000 for it. I borrowed from anyone who would lend. Maxed out 5 credit cards. Together, it was enough. I couldn't breathe. My best friend, my brother, was a thief. But here's the thing, Marcus continued, his voice steady now. Westfield Corp is worth $50 million. 50 million.
The CEO makes $12 million a year. 12 million. And they won't even notice 50,000 is gone. It's literally 0.1% of their assets. It's a rounding error to them, but it's stealing. I finally found my voice. Marcus, you could go to prison. And if they find out, you'll lose your job, your license, everything. I know, he said calmly. I've thought about all of that. Every consequence. Every risk. And you know what? I'd do it again. Because my mother is worth more than $50,000. She's worth more than my career. She's worth more than my freedom. And if I have to go to prison so she can live, that's a trade I'll make every single time. I stared at him. At my best friend who I thought I knew everything about. And I realized I didn't know him at all. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Because I needed to tell someone, he said. And because you're the only person I trust. The only person who knows how much my mom means to me. How much she's sacrificed. I needed you to know that I didn't do this lightly. I explored every legal option. Every possibility. This was the last resort, Marcus. I'm not asking you to understand, he interrupted. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I just needed you to know the truth. Because you're my brother. And brothers don't lie to each other. Asterisk, retention hook. In that moment, sitting across from my best friend who had just confessed to a felony, I had to make a choice. And I had no idea what the right answer was. I didn't sleep that night. Couldn't. My mind was racing through every possible scenario. On one hand, Marcus had committed a crime. A serious one.
Embezzlement. Fraud. He'd stolen $50,000 from our client. Our company could be held liable. We could lose the account. People could lose their jobs. And it was wrong. You can't just steal because you need money, no matter how noble the reason, but on the other hand, it was his mother. The woman who gave up everything for him. Who worked 3 jobs just to keep a roof over his head. Who went without so he could have. And the money wasn't going to drugs or gambling or something frivolous. It was literally life or death, and the company Westfield Corp, they were worth $50 million. They wouldn't even notice. Their CEO probably spent more than $50,000 on his last vacation. Was it really stealing if the victim didn't even realize they were a victim? I thought about what I'd do in Marcus's position. If it was my mom. If I had the power to save her and all it required was taking money from a corporation that would never miss it, wouldn't I do the same thing? But then I thought about the bigger picture. If everyone used that logic, if everyone justified stealing by saying the victim won't notice or I needed more, society would fall apart. Laws exist for a reason. Even if we don't always agree with them. Even if they sometimes seem unjust. And what about Elena herself? Did she know where the money came from? Would she want to be saved if she knew her son had become a criminal? The Elena I knew, the woman with unshakable principles, I couldn't imagine her accepting this. I made a list. Literally wrote it out on paper like some kind of deranged philosophy student. Or reasons TO reported. It's illegal, it's morally wrong to steal. Other people could get hurt if the company retaliates. Marcus could face serious prison time if caught later. Covering for him makes me complicit.